Welcome to Survivor, everybody, on AFTERBUZZ. This is season 34. Not only is this season going to be a game changer, but it's also the 500th episode today. We're so excited. Stay tuned to break down today with us.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Woo! You guys, we're back. Back again for Survivor season 34. This is the 500th episode of Survivor today.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine what they're feeling right now?
This is my note that I need to stop watching TV because I watched every season of Survivor.
Shout out to anybody that watched all 500. That would be incredible.
That's a feat, for sure. Thanks so much for joining us today. You guys, we're so excited to have you this season. It's going to be great. It's game changers. All players that we've seen before. We're super excited to break this down for you. I'm your host, Paige Bonanno. You guys can find me on all social media at Paige Bonanno. And we have our wonderful panel back. Did I say that right? Wonderful panel.
There you go.
Back this season, and here they are.
Yes, guys. It's Domonique Price here. I'm super excited to be back. You guys can find me everywhere.
Everywhere?
Everywhere.
Oh,
I'm
just
everywhere.
Just on billboards, just all over the town. Domonique Price.
Domonique is everywhere, and my name is Michael Rippe, and you can find me on social media at Mike Rips. But also, today is also International Women's Day, so shout out to the two ladies on the panel and all the females
Thanks,
at home.
Mike. You're look
the
at him.
best.
And shout out to all the guys that respect women like you and will
With bangs.
yes.
I'm
and
bringing
we'll,
bangs back this season.
Aren't they
and
so
we'll
awesome?
celebrate them. We appreciate you, of
I
course.
love his bangs.
Yeah, we got the bangs. We got lots of stuff going on this season, you guys. It's game changers. It's really going to be a game changer. I mean, we have the best players that we've ever had out of every season. So
Sandra,
Yeah.
two-time winner.
two-time winner. We have 3 winners this season.
Crazy.
JT, Sandra, and Tony. So
And a lot of people that have come really close.
Really
And
close.
fan
This is like
favorites.
vice president close.
Fan
One shot
favorites,
away
right?
from president.
Ty,
Caleb.
It's like, for those of you that are like just starting and maybe haven't gotten to research too much on the season, or maybe haven't seen the episode and are just joining in to hear the recap, the episode is basically former contestants that were considered game changers, like making the strategies and risky moves that either like did or would have affected the outcome of the game. So I feel like for Caleb especially, he's that technicality where it said they either did or would have affected the game, because Caleb obviously was medevaced out, but he could have definitely changed the game if he would have stayed in.
Absolutely.
Right.
So-
And I have a good feeling he's going to change this season of Survivor.
I'm
think so,
excited
too.
also because I'm a Big Brother fan, and so having seen
Yes.
Caleb over on Big Brother, I loved the way he played the game until he got into his showman situation. But he's a really tough competitor. Like, he could not lose Big Brother because of how physically fit he was. So I'm ready to see him dominate Survivor.
Shout out to all of the fans that have joined us for another season, like Eric, Sheena, everyone, Joseph Bosa. We appreciate you all.
Thomas.
Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah,
Another season.
yeah, definitely keep the comments coming. We love to hear everything you guys have to say, and just
don't
to help us
worry.
remember some stuff.
We're gonna bring back the draft at the end of tonight's episode. We're gonna draft
Who remembers
again
our draft
our
from last
survivors.
season?
Let us
It's
know
supposed
who
to be
you
a
guys
2-1.
would pick also, and we'll
Yeah,
we'll
we want to know
discuss.
who you guys are gonna pick.
It'll be fun. So, what are your guys' just initial thoughts on this season, either coming into it, before watching it, or just after watching it today? Like, what's the thoughts here?
I always love when Survivor does All Stars. So
Okay.
I'm like chips ready, popcorn ready, wine ready for what's getting ready to happen. I mean, legit, that was 2 hours of like jaw-dropping drama, skill. The strategies were already flying. I'm like, can we just like get some water first?
Can we all get to know each other a little bit?
No, like I love Zeke's like fan out moment, because I'm like, that would be me. Like, I would be like, oh my God, I remember when you did this, and I remember when you did that. I'll never forget that that whole mix up between Cherie and Ozzy. Like,
Yeah, do you want to
Gold.
explain a little bit about that for
Gold.
the
I mean, I don't want to. I want you guys like to really sit back and just like see how. I don't even want to tell you guys too much, but know that you guys have like a super fan here, and so I'm excited to watch this season and just see how, although they're playing a new game, how much of those past relationships and issues may, you know, pop up this season. So.
Yeah, and then this for Paige, this is our 3rd season doing it
I
together.
know,
And
it's
I
crazy.
love that in Game Changers too. It's the All-Stars, and we have so many recent competitors back now. Almost half the cast is recent from just either last season or the season before.
Yep.
You know, from Zeke and Ty and
Definitely.
Aubrey, Caleb. So it's going to be a really fun season. It was an amazing debut, the 2-hour debut. It started off really chaotic, right? I mean,
Super
that
chaotic.
intro is just like, whoa.
Yeah, you're talking about when they're jumping off?
Jeff is just like, and season
And
34
let's go.
starts. And you're just like,
And they don't even know what's going on. They're just like literally throwing stuff off, not even onto the rafts, just into the water. I'm
and
like, whoa, that's
within,
strong.
within 3 minutes, there's already a secret advantage.
a secret
Yes.
advantage,
What?
and the whole jumping, the twist to start with the 2 poles that you're gonna have to jump into the water,
And of
get
course,
the,
Ozzy gets
the
it.
toolkit. No one even jumped in for a while for the
No,
other team. It was
because they're like, I
Chaos.
was a
Like,
fish.
Yeah.
Like,
And then Caleb, he came close at least, but
and I think you have to pay attention to. Ozzy had to have been in the water for a good 2 minutes, maybe 3 or 4, before Caleb jumped in,
Yep.
and he still came really, really close to untying it.
See, that's
that
why-
shows you Caleb's skill level.
And that's why you can never give up, though, in the game of Survivor. Like, they're like, oh, well, Ozzy's got it, so we don't have to worry about it. Like, no, just go, and you can probably get it, like we saw in the first immunity challenge, or maybe it was
Second.
the
It
second,
was the second
when
one.
they were throwing the rings. They came so close after being so far behind.
Survivor is a game of anything goes. From 1 week, you could be the top of everyone's list, and the next week, you fly completely under the radar. And Survivor is a game that you have to play moment by moment.
Yeah.
And then this season they've introduced a new twist, right?
Love it.
Yes, yes.
So we should talk about that because I was thinking about the new twist, which is there's no revote for ties. Basically, it's either you unanimously agree on the tie and then who to vote out, or the people that are tied are safe.
Yeah.
And you draw rocks.
So it's like instead of doing the revote, you just instantly draw rocks. And for, people in the past that are so used to just being like, okay, let's just split the vote.
you can.
And that's what Jeff Probst had said in an interview. He was saying, this is something that's bothered me about Survivor for so long, that so many people will just go to split the vote and then, whatever happens, happens. And he's like, this time I want there to be a consequence.
Right.
So if you're going to go to that, fine, go ahead.
Right.
But just so you know, you are going to have to draw rocks.
And if you guys are oldie but goodies, you guys know how I feel about their Survivor rules. They're amazingly written. And so I think I can only imagine what the process was to get a rule changed in Survivor.
Right.
Because they are just so staple.
So do you think that is this rule going to be what goes on in Survivor for forever now, or is this something that's just this season?
We don't know. It may Survivor's fun, and I think that's the reason why people still get excited about Survivor 34 seasons
Definitely.
later, because you may think you're playing the same game, but each and every season is totally different.
Right.
Right.
There's also a new way of finding the immunity idols this time as well. This time we saw this, a little bit of this, like a couple, maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago, when you have to go underneath in challenges and grab the immunity idols. It's not just, you're finding immunity idol, that's it. Like, you're gonna go, even if you find it, you still have to do something else or open something else or do it in front of people. So it's going to be exciting to see that for sure.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Definitely interested to also hear what you guys at home think about the twist and the whole no revoting for ties. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's a huge one. We saw last season that drawing rocks plays into who ends up winning.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
it's so big. So
yeah,
big.
and it's interesting too, like you were saying about how every season the game of Survivor changes, and it's just like that's why people are still watching it so many seasons later. Even to the fact that you might not want somebody to come back, and there's been a winner for 2 seasons, and they're here back, and they could potentially win a third season. It's like makes me crazy, but it's also like, you know what, this is Survivor. We're gonna get second chances. People are gonna get to come back and play, and we're gonna see who wins from it.
Not only is the twist added to this season, but also they have the legacy advantage again, but they changed it up the way it's going to be utilized.
Right. So with the legacy advantage now, and Sierra found it
Sierra
right
found
at the
it,
beginning.
that's right.
And basically it was that you can either only play it at 13 or 6. So when there's 13 people left, you can play, or when there's 6 people left, you can play it. And if not, you have to will it to somebody else.
If you get knocked out, you
so
will it to someone else.
I wonder what's the deal with 13 and 6.
Maybe it's going to be an integral part where there's maybe a big change and that will keep you safe. It's interesting because it might not, again, be really an advantage, because if you're safe in that moment, you only have 2 opportunities to use it now.
Yeah.
And if
Right.
you're safe in that moment, it's useless
Kind of like
to you.
that.
Exactly.
But,
Because it's like if you play it at 13, then you're like, well, if I'm still here at 6, then shoot.
Sure. Yeah.
But let's just go over who's on which tribe for a minute and just see what we're working with here. So we have the Mana, is that how you say it? The Mana tribe?
Yep.
And we have a lot of strong players here, but they seem to be falling back a little bit. We have Michaela, Malcolm, Haley, Jeff Varner, Troy, Sandra, Caleb, Sierra, Aubrey, and Tony. And at the beginning, like, that looks like a really, really strong tribe. But then just right off the bat, you know, they lost both immunity challenges tonight.
Yeah.
Out of those people, who is your guys' initial, like, this
one
is my
good
person?
point that I want to bring up. Sheena's saying the merge is probably at 13.
Yeah, probably. Oh, then maybe there's multiple. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I mean, initial thoughts for me was I thought Sierra had something really silly in the start of the show when she talked about how
I
she had
haven't
an
been
advantage.
a fan of hers for a while.
She mentioned how she had played with winners in the past, so she thought that was an advantage. And immediately I was thinking, and tell me what you guys were thinking, hasn't everyone played with the winners?
Like, this is Game Changers.
No one is new to this season.
Right.
So this is a season where everyone's back at least multiple times,
Well, I
and
mean,
they've all played with winners.
those that were on the Millennials, they may not have played with anybody who's, you know, they haven't been on
It just
an
seemed
all-star season yet.
Yeah.
But for her to make such a statement like that when you have amazing winners like that have
Right.
gone down in history,
Felt like she was a little like aloof or out of the
Definitely.
actual, like not really
I
focused.
thought it was cocky.
Yeah. I just, like, don't really... I mean, this is my opinion here, but I just don't really get the whole Sierra thing. Like, I understand her first season, Blood versus Water. You know, she voted her mom out. Like, that's great. Like, and I know that in the second season, too, that she was on, Second Chances, she did also force two ties or whatever. But I just don't, like, I didn't like her. I've never liked her gameplay, and I just don't think that, I don't know. I don't want to say she didn't deserve to be here, but just from my perspective, I don't really get the whole Sierra
I
phenomenon.
haven't liked her since her original season. I didn't like it when they brought her back.
Let us know what you guys think about Sierra.
I've just never been a huge fan of hers.
I don't
but
think-
clearly somebody likes her because they keep bringing her back.
They
Right.
brought her back, but she was quickly made waste of. Also in this tribe, Tony. Tony started out, he was looking for the idol. He's going idol hunting quickly. He's going a mile a minute.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Tony. He's
Me too.
comical. He was driven. He really wanted to win, but maybe too aggressive at the start.
I think it was
Well,
a little too aggressive.
I would
but-
have freaked out if I would have woke up and found him just standing over me. Like,
Yeah.
The dude was just a smidget creepy.
Creepy. For sure. Everyone's sleeping. He's just standing there. It's a little weird.
Such a great personality, though. He
Yeah.
hasn't- I mean, who builds an underground bunker?
I was really
Come on.
disappointed.
Because I'm the girl who's like, I don't want to get dirty.
Right.
Like, I don't want to
Okay.
do that.
If you're on Survivor, you're already dirty.
That's the problem. This is why I talk about it here.
But so for the underground bunker, basically his idea was, I'm just going to hide here whenever people go off to talk.
not his idea.
So where do
He's
people
done it
think
before.
that? Where do people think that you are though? Then in that situation,
He's very crafty.
I guess. Yeah.
Well,
I
it did
was
work for him
disappointed.
this time.
But also, Troyzen said that Tony had a fantastic guilty face.
Yes.
Like, he just knew when he's guilty. It's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, it was disappointing that he was voted off so soon. But hey, he did win a season, so can't really be too sad about it.
Yeah, and I do agree. I think having won already, it did automatically put a target on your back. But I thought it was interesting that immediately there was that rift between Sandra and Tony. I think they tried for a millisecond to work with each other.
Right.
But I think when you have such big personalities and one wanting to dominate
Right.
and not
Trying
being
to
able to
establish
rule
dominance.
together, that was never going to work.
The thing is, though, I do feel like they could have, if they would have actually tried, I feel like they could have worked very well together.
I don't
Because
think so.
as they did say, though, for the millisecond that they tried to work together, they said the only way that a winner from the past is going to win this season is if 3 winners are in the ending seats. So
Or
that
if
would be
Sandra
JT,
continues to
Sandra,
put
and
her
Tony.
magic on him, just sprinkle the
Right,
magic on
but
him.
she's
and
right.
it'll work.
I believe for sure. Like if she gets to the final 3, like I mean, she could argue that, but I don't think people are gonna vote for her again.
You
know
never
what?
know.
I'm not gonna lie. After what happened last season at the end, I'm completely clueless to how this is gonna go down. So everything I thought, I don't think.
It just doesn't
But what I do
hold.
think is that Michaela initially talked about how she had a new strategy to control her facial reactions, which was interesting.
That was interesting.
That fell apart quickly.
Fell apart very quickly. We did see, yes, Michaela with
A huge favorite of Dom's.
You guys know, if you guys know how much I love Michaela.
You were a little frustrated with her today.
I wanted to reach into the TV and shake her like a parent. Like,
Well, I mean, we see like
she could be so great. Michaela could be one of the greats if she got her attitude in check. Her attitude freaking sucks.
right.
Ooh.
Like,
Well, it's
she
true.
acts like a 3-year-old. And if she's going to continue to play like that all season,
You're coming strong this
Bye,
season.
Felicia.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, to your point, like her tribe was kind of scrambling around, thinking they were saying, okay, we're voting Sierra, but then Sierra was walking up, and they just literally threw out a name. Like they didn't. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't like, oh, it made sense to throw out Michaela because she's a strong player and she's a threat, and Sierra would believe it. And then Michaela got all in a frenzy and all upset about it, and I really don't think that it was a big deal and that she should have done that, because then obviously it worked for her. Nothing happened. She didn't get voted off. But it very well could have worked against her.
Right.
I think
here's the thing.
To work against her,
I think it's going to continue to work against her. My issue is that I understood where she was coming from. The way they even brought it up to her was already kind of like super sus. Like, they should have started the conversation off with, we're going to vote Sierra out to keep her quiet. We told her that we're putting you down, but you're cool. Like,
but
we
I
got
think
you.
They did, though.
They did not. She said, you guys were over at the hole having a conversation. What's going on? They told her that the game plan was Sierra, and she was like, oh, okay, well, who does Sierra think you're voting for?
Yeah.
They left out the big piece, like, let me know.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you're going to throw me out there, give me the reassurance before you throw me out there. So I understood where her anger came from, but how she handled that in the moment, that would have been I'm fuming on the inside, but I'm smiling on the outside.
But she was also like,
because that wasn't the time.
Like they were saying, making some faces about it and this and that. And I just like, the guys were saying, oh my God, like this girl is scary. Like you're not going to win a game by acting like that and having everybody think that, like be scared of you. And they were like, I thought Michaela would be cool about it. I'm like, I don't know why you thought Michaela would be cool about it.
And I will say this, because it is National Women's Day. It pisses me off that it was an issue when Michaela got mad, but even if it was a dude, they would not have been so upset at a guy for being like, what the fuck? You could have at least told me or gave me a heads up. It would have been shrugged off.
But it's just the way she handled it, though.
So regardless, I feel like women have to check their attitude in a way that men don't, and that's screwed up.
Okay, go for it, Mike.
This is one of the things I said last season. I feel like I always say at the start of the season, at least if I'm on that, or I feel like everyone's mentality to just try to coast through the early parts of the game. Right, like throwing yourself kind of into the fray right at the start when there's so many people left, I feel like is so silly.
Mike, I totally agree with you, especially Tony. We saw that with like
you're getting yourself on the chopping block immediately, as opposed to just sit back, like settle in, like let everyone else kind of vote a few people off before. Even if you have this personality, you want to have the greatness, you want to be in control, whatever. Like wait it out a little bit, because otherwise you're just throwing yourself into a fire. Like maybe it's gonna burn you.
Totally, and I mean we saw that, like I said, with Tony. Like we're not even on the beach yet. Like we're literally walking onto the beach from the water, and he sprints for the immunity idol. Like yeah, that's bold, but I think you can chill out a little bit. Like we didn't build a shelter, we didn't get anything set. Like we didn't even get to know each other yet. Like
exactly.
Just hang out for a minute, and look what happened. He got voted off.
And we already had 2 eliminations. There are a few contestants where you barely have seen them so far, which is because they're just coasting right now. Just coast for a little bit. Like,
totally.
I'm not saying don't try and don't give effort, but to kind of stay out of, like, don't put yourself into a position.
In the limelight.
I feel like you can get through the early episodes, the early part of the season, by not just doing something stupid.
Literally, like, look at Michelle that won 2-3 seasons ago.
You just have to cruise for a little. So that's the whole thing right there with Michaela, with all of them. Just calm down a little.
Yes.
Don't try to be so dominant on day 4.
And Michaela did say, like, in her initial interview going in, like, what are you going to do differently in this game? You know, I'm kind of going to try to play it back a little bit and not let my anger get the best of me. And I don't think that she, like, was in an outrage and, like, went crazy, but you also just have to, like, keep it in. And people know you as the girl that gets mad and has anger issues, so you gotta try to reel it in and make them see you as something different.
Like, I think that we saw she can compete, and she's great at it.
She's great.
But she's very fickle, and she's like a roller coaster, where she just, if was just a little bit more calm, it would go a long way for her overall game. Because now she hasn't been eliminated, but she's definitely put herself in, like, whoa, I don't know what's going on with her. I gotta worry about her.
They're scared of her.
You don't want that to be the initial impression.
She's like 130 pounds soaking wet.
Wait.
Dude, she's strong as hell.
She's the 6th strongest woman.
No, don't get me wrong. She's super strong.
That's Michaela?
But Tony is huge.
Yeah.
Like, Caleb is huge.
But it's just the attitude, though. Their attitudes aren't like
afraid.
that.
Like,
no, she shouldn't be afraid. No.
I don't know.
The perfect point. One of our live audience is saying, you can't change overnight. I agree 1,000%. She did a lot better in that process of what the old Michaela would have done. So let's give her a little bit of pat on the back. She is growing.
And I will say, I mean, Michaela was literally in last season. Like, she didn't have much time between going home and going on the next season. Like, many of these players have been off for the season for so long. They've watched so many more and matured so much.
But
That's
on
a
the
good
flip
point.
side of
I'm
that,
sorry.
I would say that the same way that these other people have been resting, that might be an advantage because she's already in that mindset of gameplay. Now let me go and just change a couple things.
Yeah.
I just played. Now I have the opportunity to put this right back into effort right away.
Like, now I
in a
just
new
watched
way.
my last season. I saw what I did wrong.
I can change it quickly. So I don't know if that's an advantage or disadvantage going back and
I
to the thing.
think it could go either way as well.
What did you guys think about the Nuku tribe? Because we talked about Mana now.
Yeah.
What about Nuku?
So we have on Nuku, Sari, JT, Andrea, Brad, Sierra, Ozzy, Debbie, Ty, Sarah, and Zeke. I also think this is a very strong tribe, but I just don't.
They're clearly working together better than the other tribe. What I thought was interesting is that Mana has more like physically actually stronger players than Nuku does. But they seem to really be able to gel and make it work for the challenges. So maybe strength isn't everything.
Well, the thing I thought about Nuku right off the bat is that their personalities blended together better.
Sure.
As opposed to them all wanting to be the dominant one and like fighting each other. It's like they're a little bit more strategic. You had Ty, you have Zeke, you know,
Aside
Andrea.
from Sari and Ozzy, though.
Right, but I don't think Sari's that strong of a player. They have their battle, Ozzy and Sari, but even their personalities seem a little bit like try to kind of undercut people. And even Debbie, they're all kind of sitting back a little bit where they don't have that really strong personality to take over. And so I thought they meshed better to start.
I think you're right. Like, I mean, Andrea, Brad, Sierra, Sarah. Like, we have a lot of...
kind of a little bit more mellow.
Definitely.
Go with the flow as opposed to I gotta do this right away. Go
Right.
crazy.
Do you think that was actually like done strategically?
It might have been.
I was
because
gonna
when
say
you're
that.
looking at
I'm
it,
always like, I feel like they should always give us like a little video before each season to let us know how they've picked.
I mean, putting
if they're
Sari and Ozzy on the
pre-picked.
same, of course.
Because some seasons will go and it's literally like a random like picking the hat and you draw.
I don't know. This looks pretty strategic to me.
I think
What-
it was. I think they put a lot of the stronger personalities on one tribe
they may
to kill
have,
each other.
but I think that's gonna change
I always
quickly.
love a good social experiment.
What I definitely thought was funny to see again, Ty and his chickens. Maybe we're
Oh
gonna
my
have-
God, chickens.
Maybe Mark the Chicken 2.0. Shout out to you, Eric. I hear you on that.
Yes.
That would be funny.
Oh,
Also,
he was giving his own food to the chickens, like trying to fatten up the chickens, and he can't fatten up himself.
Yeah.
Like,
And I wasn't a fan of Ty, kind of almost like he's pairing up with Sari. I thought
Right.
that was going to be a bad move.
it's kind of like where the heck did that even come from? Like,
Doesn't seem smart.
Right.
And I also think they were very strategic by putting Cherie and Ozzy on
Of
the same
course.
team.
That wasn't by mistake.
It
Right.
wasn't by mistake whatsoever. And so it's little things like that where it's like they try to put roadblocks in front of you to see if you have what it takes as a player to jump over this.
yeah.
And I also want to finally just touch on Brad. And shout out to Brad because Brad was wearing a Syracuse hat. And I'm a
Ooh.
Syracuse graduate.
There we
So
go.
I appreciated the love that Brad was giving to my school right there.
All right, Brad, you might be Mike's first
He
first
may
pick
be my
on
first
the.
pick. He might be every pick. But shout out to Brad. He looks good, and
For sure.
I'm rooting for him because he's rooting for my school.
For sure. If you guys had to pick, I mean, out of these, on one tribe and the other, who would have you thought would be the first person voted out?
I don't know, because in going back to talk a little bit about Brad, I feel like he did decent on his season, but I also think doing blood versus water, I think is a really hard just season to do because there's so many other things that are in the back of your mind as you're playing. And so I'm like, I don't know who Brad is outside of that.
Well,
you know,
funny that you're talking about a past season because I try to enter each season knowing what I know about the past seasons and maybe what they've done, but I try to give everyone a clean slate.
Yeah.
And think about it as a fresh new chance because it's going to be different dynamics.
Sure.
And let it play out then.
That's the whole fun about it being an all-star season is
you're
that you
trying to
have
take in
all
the
of
past,
it.
but
Well,
no.
it's not taking in all of the past, but it's like thinking about somebody's like strength and weaknesses. And with Brad, I'm like, I struggle to figure out what his were from his season because I feel like when you're playing with your wife, like that's a whole nother like can of
Yeah. To me, it's a new season. I'm focused on this season. That's it. And let's see what happens starting with day one. And that's the only thing.
It's
I think
just
about.
Clearly, you and I have different views.
Well, that's good then. That's good for our panel. What I will say is you asked us who I thought was on each tribe. I honestly was not a fan of Sierra immediately on Mana.
Totally.
And then for Nuku, I'm thinking Sari.
Okay.
I'm thinking Cirie for sure. In my eyes, are the two immediately that I was thinking.
Yeah.
One on each side.
I feel like that is kind of a hard question for me to ask too, because like you were saying, you can't really. I mean, all these people have played so many times. Like, it's hard to even say like who can really be voted out first, just based on how good they've done. I mean, it's just crazy to me that so many of these people have played so many times. Like, we've literally had people play 3 times.
How lucky are they?
How lucky are they? Like, there's some people that can't even get on Survivor, and then we have people that have played 3 times.
Paige for season 35.
Oh my God, yeah, right. I mean, I would love it, but
we need to get Paige on Survivor.
I would be scared. I would be so scared to be on Survivor, though.
I want you on Survivor.
Really? I
do.
think we need Dom on Survivor.
And you both can go on.
We both
Paige
on.
and Dom on Survivor 35.
You guys, I'm telling you guys
Or
right
36.
now.
Yeah. Is 35 already? They're probably already in the process.
They won't let me take no bug repellent. I asked.
I think my hair would just be
know.
crazy.
All right, well, I'm
I
worried about
can
Dom's
deal with
chances.
the hair.
Yes.
You guys, I can deal with the hair. I can deal with the lack of shower.
Yes.
There are only 2 things that I'm not sure that I could fully commit to with Survivor, and I'm gonna. All I'm gonna say is, as a woman, I feel like it would be a little hard to go the entire.
Interesting.
All right, I got
So
you.
we haven't done
Paige season.
It would be
too
hard.
much of talking about what's happened,
Yes.
right? But what about
I
the
would
first
like to
immunity?
see Mike's bangs on Survivor 35.
Oh
Yes.
I
to
would
the
be
bangs.
banging out on Survivor.
Sorry, you said what?
It would be a bun by the time that it was over.
That's right. That would
And
be
I'd
perfect.
be so here
You
for
need
it.
a
I would
bun.
hashtag
All
the
man buns
entire
do
ti-
well on
the
Survivor.
entire time.
They do. What happened with what? Did you ask?
Although I'd be like Cochran.
Yeah.
I'd be sunburned and it would be bad.
The first immunity.
First immunity, I
Yes.
gotta say, one of my favorite things. So Nuku wins, right? It seemed pretty difficult. They had the swimming, the obstacles. They brought everything in, the puzzles, and creating a shipping wheel. And so Debbie was struggling with the lock. At the same time, Varna was struggling with the lock, and Jeff
Yes.
was calling him out. Something that we've talked about in the past, where Jeff maybe influences. And then it came down to the puzzle, right, where it was Zeke and Cirie versus Sierra
In the wheel,
and
yes.
Sandra. And then Zeke and Cirie won. And my favorite moment, this is my favorite moment. Tell me what you guys thought. But I really loved when Zeke was spinning the wheel at the end, watching the flag go up.
Yeah.
He had such like excitement, and that
Such
spin.
excitement.
I want him to be the captain of my ship when we're.
Honestly, and the thing is with Zeke is like he's so. I agree. That was my favorite moment, and I just think that Zeke is so passionate about this game, and it just like makes me love him so much because he really truly cares. He's watched so many seasons, like he knows everything about this, and you can see when they're losing, he is totally defeated, and when they're winning, he's just on a high. Like
and he's always thinking about the long-term game.
Exactly.
When it's not just in the moment, but how's this moment this way, but how's this moment something later.
he's smart, he's strategic, and he's a good player. I mean, I think
Huge.
Zeke's a huge threat this season.
I
Great,
really
great player.
like Zeke. You guys know from last season that I was team Zeke all the way. I
Yeah.
was super sad that he didn't go farther. But I also think that when you get a little tiny taste of power, it can go to your head. And I think that's what happened to him last season.
Definitely.
And I'm hoping that he doesn't make that same mistake this season, because if he doesn't, I could see him going really far.
I could see him winning also. After immunity too, like we saw that Nuku won, and then instantly we're going back to camp, and they're talking about Sierra being the weakest threat, which is funny because everybody's a threat. So now they have to use the term she's the weakest threat. And basically, I mean, the theme of this was kind of loose lips sink ships.
Which was funny.
And which was funny. And we
'Cause
also
they do.
see, but this was Sierra's problem last time, is she talked the whole time, she's the only one throwing names out. Nobody else is throwing names out, so everybody's like, okay, let's get Sierra out. I mean, do you guys think that was a good move on their part? Or do you think there was someone else that that would have been better?
Like I said, I don't like Sierra. So I would have wrote her name down personally if I was there.
I would have thought the first person that they should have gotten out would have been Sandra. I'm sorry.
You're absolutely right. That's what I was just about to say. That if they could have done something,
No, she's sprinkling magic on him.
I mean, look.
I love her.
Sandra she's won 2 times from a gameplay. If I'm playing against someone that's won 2 times, my thought would be, let's get rid of the one person in history that's won 2
Get her
times and that's
out.
in our tribe.
Right.
Everyone just get rid of her.
Right.
Because the odds are, when she plays Survivor, she wins. Why don't we make her not win? That would
Yeah.
be my thought. So,
Right?
whereas Sierra seems like dead weight almost.
Yeah.
That you could worry about her later. It'll be easy.
Yeah.
Get rid of Sandra.
I totally
I'm
agree.
surprised that they did not take an opportunity to get rid of her, and it seems like
They had 2 opportunities to get rid of her.
and it seems like she
2.
has quickly risen to the throne.
Well, I mean, going with that, we see after Sierra gets voted out. I mean, Sierra did say, hey, I didn't perform that well in this challenge as well. She kind of knew. But either way, we see Sandra right away after this Tony first kicks it into gear and gets this alliance set. He has
and
Caleb. Yep, Caleb, Malcolm, Tony, Aubrey, and Sandra. So he put Sandra in his group.
And, well, it's interesting because he describes that he wants to keep the threats around him.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas
Because, like they said, only way a winner will win is if 3 winners are on the final.
Interesting
final
thought
3.
process, though, because you would think a lot of people are getting rid of threats. He says he wants to keep the threats around him. Keep your friends
I'm
close,
still
enemies
confused,
closer.
Definitely.
and I wish I would have been able to eavesdrop on whatever conversation it was that had Sandra
The crates?
and Tony voting for Aubrey. Like, I just felt like I missed a big conversation there.
Right.
Because that vote was really, really confusing. I mean, Caleb even voted for Tony.
Right. And I mean, before getting into that too, like we did have the 5 alliance that we thought was the alliance. And then Sandra starts doing her little thing. Maybe this is where the Aubrey thing came from. I'm not sure. But Sandra tells Haley about this, that she's not happy with Tony.
First of all, I keep forgetting that Haley is in this game.
Yes, yeah. And so she basically tells, hey, I'm not happy
else
with
am I
Tony.
forgetting about?
And then they tell Jeff, and then everybody all of a sudden knows, and then all of a sudden everybody is on her side. And they're like, hey, she put together an alliance in literally 15 minutes. Like, she's scary.
Impressive.
Like, it's impressive,
But
she's
that's
a
what
threat.
Jeff keeps saying. But yet Jeff is in her spell. Like, Jeff keeps saying, do you guys see what she's doing?
Yes.
Like, this is crazy. This is how she's won twice. We need to stop this. But yet he's still in her train. So what is the
Because
magic that
what's
she's
she gonna
sprinkling
do though?
on them?
Like, yeah, go against everybody?
Who knows?
But yeah,
she's
I mean,
one person.
literally we had that alliance, and then within 15 minutes she went and changed the entire game. So I mean, it's just really crazy. She said, hey, this game comes so naturally to me. I'm just so good at it. And she is really cocky this season. I love
did you
it
see
though.
the way she
what?
was screaming at him on his way out?
I normally hate
Honestly,
cocky people, but she's just like, hey, I'm the queen.
Adios.
when you win
I'm
2
the queen.
times,
Hell
you
yeah.
can do whatever you
Hell
want.
yeah.
I agree.
She's like-
I would also like a full video on
Yeah.
what she's done with this money.
She's like, I'm the
I
queen.
just-
Adios.
I just wanna
She's
know.
probably got like a big chair that she just reclines in, like has her feet up. It's gold.
It has to be
It's-
gold with velvet.
It's
red
great.
velvet.
If you're watching, Sandra, whenever you watch, please come on the show.
Yes, please.
And
We
that
would
goes
love
for
having-
all of the Survivor
Yes.
contestants.
I would
Please,
love any
You are
and
more than
all.
welcome to call in, Skype in, join us in studio at any point this season. We'd
I'm
love
gonna
to
find
talk to you.
Ken. Ken's in LA somewhere.
Sandra did say, I mean, at Tribal, though, that when they were talking about not voting for Tony and voting for Sandra, only because we need to keep the strong players in. We need to keep all these strong people. We can't get rid of them yet. We should be getting rid of, like, the Aubreys, the Sandras. I mean, Sandra's just not physical in the game, you know? And Sandra even said at Tribal, okay, I'm getting scared now because if they're going to take out somebody useless, they should take out me. And I'm like, damn. But I mean, she knows that she's not good at the challenges, but she's amazing in the gameplay. So I don't know. I think that it was very strange that the whole Aubrey thing happened and that nobody ended up voting for Sandra when it seemed like people were going to vote for Sandra.
It was the perfect opportunity.
the perfect
and
opportunity.
I think we're going to look back and they're really going to regret this chance to have taken her
What
out.
do you guys think? Do you think that they...
I know I heard Eric talking about the golden opportunity. I'm sure others agree. But yeah, let us know. And not just in the live chat, but if you're watching this at any point, let us know in the comment thread what you thought about their missed opportunity to take out Sandra.
Definitely. And I mean, going along with all this, I think if you guys are ready, we can get into our picks on who we think will be best.
Well,
or do you have a couple
we
things
should
to
do
say
the
first?
picks, but we should also
Oh, this
mention
is
about
really
how...
interesting.
What?
Defender, I would love to know like where you got that piece of information. He says, I don't think Haley was originally casted.
I actually,
I
that's a great
think
point.
he said, I think someone else couldn't make it, and because of time reasons, they were backup. Same reason for Sierra.
So it actually-
So I think it's interesting that Sierra and Haley are the two people that I keep saying I don't know why they're playing.
Yeah.
And they were the backup. So
Well, it actually-
they're just on a whim.
I had never heard any of that talk about Haley, but actually, San Juan del Sur's winner, Natalie Anderson, she was supposed to play on the show, and she was like set to play, and she was ready, and then all of a sudden at the last minute she had to back out, and then that spot was filled by Sierra Thomas, not Sarah Easton. So that's pretty interesting. I didn't hear the Haley thing, so that's a great point. I'm gonna look that up now.
I'm gonna look it up too.
Yeah.
But so I was just gonna say though that the whole Tony versus Sandra thing at Tribe, that was interesting how that went down. And even when people kind of were like, oh, I didn't think I was gonna like Tony, but I like him. Like Malcolm said that. Varna was like, believes in Tony, but they all voted for Tony.
Yeah, what was that about?
It's wild.
You're right, because I mean,
It wasn't in any of the conversations that we've seen played.
And also, we should note though that the second immunity in tonight's challenge was a tough one, where they had to carry the 400-pound snake.
I would have been like, yeah, no.
And we noticed though that Malcolm is super strong.
Yes.
Because he almost brought them back once they got to Malcolm. and he was able to almost get them caught up.
Malcolm literally, I mean, he
It was
came within
close.
one ring.
It was close.
They were so far behind. It would have been an epic comeback.
Yeah.
I think he did a great job, and he's going to be a really strong player
He's a
as
strong
well.
player. I like Malcolm a lot.
But I mean, that challenge was really hard. To your point, like they had to carry this 500-pound snake, and we saw the Nuku tribe literally fell off the block like 6 times.
Through in water too, wet. Like that's
Yeah,
hard.
yeah, that's
Slippery.
hard. I mean, but that's what I'm wondering though. Why did they put some of the players out there? Why is Aubrey out there? Why is
Yeah,
a
that
couple of those people when Michaela was sitting out?
Michaela said that. She was like, I couldn't voice how we could like re-scramble the.
Why didn't she play?
She played, but she was supposed to
part
be
of
on the throw team.
But then he was doing so good.
Right. So but that's the only like she should have been in Jeff's place. Jeff should have been on the beach.
Oh, Varner.
Jeff was a
Yeah.
lot of nothing.
That's true. That's true. I think
I was joking with Mike and I said Jeff literally reminds me of Cece from last season. I just don't know what he's contributing to anybody.
Jeff.
I don't know how he's not on anyone's radar as like the
Yeah.
weakest link. Goodbye.
the thing is, Jeff is so freaking likable. Like I just
like your butt.
I know.
A bench.
He's just funny.
Like he needs to sit out next time. He legit needs to sit out.
Yeah, he both
Unless it's a
challenges.
puzzle.
Both challenges we saw that he wasn't
He can
doing
play
a
in
great
a
job.
puzzle.
Yeah.
But I was
My
angry.
last thing, and then we can do the draft, is that I want to know what you guys think. I ask this all the time, and I watched again because I'm weird about this. But if you're in the water, are you wearing shoes or are you going shoeless?
You always ask this
because you
question.
notice like some people go with the shoes
I
and
didn't
some
notice that
people
today.
don't, and I'm just curious, like, what are you guys gonna do at home?
Here's the thing. Here's my thought on the wet shoes. It depends what I have to do
right.
once I get out of the water
Because
because
you might need
wet shoes
traction.
in sand
It's tough.
is like pulling you down,
Even when I
especially
swim,
depending on
it's
what kind of
tough.
shoes.
But here's my question then. Okay, in the snake challenge, when they're going across that little tiny beam, would you wear shoes or not?
That's the thing. I would want my shoes
you
on.
want
So to
shoes.
me, I that would be a game time decision.
I think
It
it'd be
would
very
depend on the
slippery either
challenge.
way.
I want no shoes.
No
I
shoes.
go in the
I'm
water.
going
I
with
never
no
wear
shoes
shoes.
either.
I don't want to wear shoes.
Only because I feel like a mermaid when I'm barefoot.
I
Okay.
think I would choose no shoes as well, but it would be kind of slippery once you're going on the thing.
And now our engineer is going to chime in.
I have a question.
Yes.
Answer.
It's not like they have a specific, like, pool that they're doing these challenges in. This is like a normal river water, right?
Oh no,
Oh,
it's
they're in the
the ocean.
ocean.
It's the ocean.
Why would you not wear shoes, dude? You could cut your foot and be out of the sea.
That's
See?
true. When you're running
no
in,
shoes.
hey, I like that because I didn't even think about that for some reason. But when
Reefs
you're
and stuff.
running in on the
So many variables.
You
You're
know
gonna
what?
get-
Here's the thing. This is Survivor. If you run in and you cut your foot, it's gonna just add to it, and you're gonna
No.
look
No,
cool.
you're gonna get medevaced out and get a friggin' infection.
That has never happened, Paige. By the way.
You never know. Paige would be the one that
hold
it
on,
happens to.
Hold on. Do we remember Joe when he got that big infection?
But that was not from running in the water. And
No,
getting
but
cut.
he did get an infection.
I'm not saying you can't get an infection.
Oh
You
wait, no,
definitely
Joe
get
was
an
the one that ate too
infection.
much chicken.
Too much
But
chicken.
whoever,
That was
someone
funny.
else got the.
I'm just saying. I'm always interested because here's the thing. I don't think either answer is right. It's obviously a personal thing because we see half the competitors
Yes.
wearing shoes. Although most people were wearing shoes today, some people weren't. I'm just always curious about that, and I feel like Survivor never answers that question or describes
Well, here's this.
differences. Maybe give us a little segment on what the difference is.
Bring some like water shoes.
Well, that's what it seems like some people do. But is that like in the rules where you can or you can't? I just want to know more about it.
We need to
I'm
get the
never gonna
sur-
stop asking until you give us the answers.
We need to get the Survivor rulebook in here, please, Jeff.
Yes.
Let's bring this in.
Jeff Probst,
And
let's
let
go.
us know, you guys, what you would do because
Yeah,
this is
shoes or no shoes?
very
No
interesting.
shoes.
Mike's never gonna let this go.
No,
shoes.
he's going to continue to talk about it.
Season 34.
Season 34?
No shoes.
Still talking
Season
about it.
44. Still talking
Okay,
about
let's
it.
pay attention. Let's pay attention
pay
next.
attention every
next
episode.
well, I'm just saying, I don't pay attention to shoes. I'm trying to
Sometimes
figure
I
out
do.
why Jeff Probe is throwing people under the bus. That's
true.
what I'm usually trying to figure
Good
out.
old Jeff.
I love it.
Before we run out of time,
Yes.
we're gonna do our draft really quick, and then we'll get into predictions. And then let's.
And then we gotta go.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here's what we're going to do. It's International Women's Day. And
Oh,
I
Mike
think that both
Rippe.
of you two should go first. Ladies first.
You're wonderful.
So there's 18 players left.
All right, let's do
That
rock,
means we
paper, scissors
each
for
get
first.
6, and you guys pick.
Okay.
Okay? But we got to do this. Stop looking at the thing, Dom. Let's go.
Okay.
We're on live
Rock,
today.
paper,
Like
scissors
my
for
piece.
first.
You can go
Let's-
first.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Your
not-
first pick.
All right. My first pick
All right.
is Malcolm.
Okay, so you picked Malcolm.
Yes.
All right. What do you want?
Oh, does
Dom?
that mean I'm next?
You're next.
Damn, I wasn't ready. Darn it, I wasn't ready.
Girl.
I'm gonna go with Caleb.
Wow, those are good picks for the first time. Dom picks Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pick the only 2-time winner in Survivor history.
Okay, all right.
And her name is Sandra. That's going to
Wow.
be me. And then I'm going to pick again.
Why?
It's
Yeah, because then
snake draft.
it goes.
So my next pick is going to be the man that goes by the name of Zeke.
I was gonna pick him.
Oh.
So now do I go or does
Now
Dom go?
Dom goes. Dom.
This is kind of bullshit. Shouldn't it go back?
It's like
No,
first
that's
pick,
not how
second,
it
third, fourth,
goes.
All right.
Have you not ever watched the NBA draft?
No, I don't watch.
Who do you want?
I'm gonna go out on a limb, only because I'm really into like female cops. So I'm gonna pick Sarah just because I think what she does is dope.
All right. Dom picks Sarah. That's your pick now, Paige.
And it's National Women's Day.
I'm picking Ozzy.
Oh my god.
Ozzy. Okay. Paige, it's also your pick
Oh,
again.
it's mine again.
You pick again.
I'm going to pick Sierra.
Okay. Sierra it is. Now it's your pick, Dom.
Am I on the clock?
It's your
Yeah,
pick.
let's
go.
go.
We're doing this like live. Come on. Not your first show.
Oh man. This is so hard.
I thought we were gonna have our picks ready.
I know. I would have thought. I thought we were doing this next week. I wasn't ready.
Your pick, girl. You should pick Michaela. It's your girl.
She's really pissing me off
All
right
right.
now.
Don't pick her then.
3,
Okay, Michaela.
2.
Wow. Okay. All right. Then you pick Dom. Now I have 2 picks.
Yep.
I'm gonna pick JT,
Okay.
and I'm gonna pick Ty.
Okay.
This picking situation is really shitty for the person in the middle.
Right?
Yeah.
Paige, hurry.
No. It's you.
oh,
Dom.
it's me? Oh, I'm
Oh.
going to pick Aubrey because Paul told me to.
All right.
Thank you, Paul.
All right. I am going
Now
to.
it's your pick.
I'm
Paige,
only
for 2
picking who they
picks.
tell me to.
All right. I'm gonna pick Culpepper. And I guess I'm gonna go with Haley.
Okay. And now it's your pick, Dom.
Who's left? Wait, move your hand so I can see.
You have.
Andrea, Debbie, Sari, Jeff, Troyzen.
I have like a team full of bad women.
Stop.
Shuri.
looking at
They're telling me who
You're
to pick.
just
I
literally-
like them.
Don't
You guys are telling Dom who to pick.
Pick your own. Make your own picks. So now I have 2 picks. I'll pick Troyzen, who's a wild card. I don't feel like anybody knows
I
about
have like
Troyzen.
a team full of girls.
And my last pick will be. I'll go Andrea.
Girl power, you guys.
So who's left, guys?
Either you can. It's now Dom. Do you want Debbie or do you want Varner?
Debbie or Varner.
Yep.
Let me see the pictures because I don't remember who. Oh, hell no, I'm not taking Debbie.
All right. So you got.
You hated Varner.
All right, you
I
got
hate
Varner.
Varner,
All right.
but
I
I
was
hate
gonna take
Debbie
Varner.
more.
Paige, you have Debbie, and we're done.
Debbie irritates.
You
my
guys have
skin.
heard who we have. You can.
Wait, why
see-
does Dom have one less than we do?
No, she doesn't. I have them all written down. We'll figure it out. Not on air. This is no one's gonna stick around for this.
You
But
guys
you'll
are the
see
best.
the rest of
They
this.
did. They
Tell
all
us
stuck around.
what team you think in the comments in the live chat. Moving forward next week, who you think's gonna have the winner? Who knows who's gonna have the winner?
Let's just
really?
get into
Predictions.
also our predictions. Yes, let's do it.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, what do you guys think is going to happen? Mike, you're up.
I think that I'm going to have the winner, and that is going to be Zeke. I think Zeke is gonna win.
I'm so pissed you got Zeke.
34.
The whole season?
I think he's gonna
We're
win.
doing that
It's
right
the
now?
first episode. I'm just throwing out my prediction right now. I think it's gonna be Zeke, and if it's not Zeke, I think it's gonna be JT.
Of course you do. They're both on your team.
Well, no, that's just what I think.
No, I agree. I think that maybe. Well, next
Although
week.
Malcolm is a great choice for a first pick.
Malcolm
Yeah,
was my
Malcolm
first,
was
and then
awesome.
Zeke was such a close second. I'm so pissed that you got him.
knows?
But I think that next week we see that they dropped the buffs already and are
Switching,
splitting
yeah.
up.
They're
so
switching
I
again.
think I really can't predict at this point because it's
It is
really
so
gonna be
early.
it's gonna be so early. It's gonna be so different. But I don't think that I don't know. I guess I can't say who I think is gonna do good or not because it's total game changer, and that's what the season is game changers.
So, you want to
Dom?
change anything, Dom?
There's nothing to change.
That's
It
an
is what it is,
amazing
guys.
prediction. Don't change anything.
You guys, thanks for joining us. That's Survivor. That's our first episode of season 34, Game Changers. Thank you so much for joining us. You guys are the best fans ever. We love your comments. We love everything that you've been giving us. Make sure to like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Once again, thanks for joining. I'm your host, Paige Bonanno. You can follow me on all social media at Paige Bonanno. And where can they find you guys?
You guys can find me on all social media platforms at Domonique P_ESQ.
Find her. She's
Find
there.
me.
She's there. She might not be here, but she's there. My name is Michael Rippe. You can catch me on social media at Mike Rips. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.